Let's go! Oh, that's right. With all this nonsense in the news, the energy level is off the chain, folks. It's just loose. Whatever slang terms you have for mayhem, use it. Perfect foot. Like my whole like motion. Let's go. It's that time again for the best damn opening in Facebook Live history. That's right. I love when these other suckers try to talk my stuff because you know they really can't. Duplicated. That fool with no hands. That shouts like Ric Flair. Woo! What? Woo! The R8RBEAR. A leader! What's up, everybody? I get to be mad about it for one day. Just one day, and then I'll be all on board. I promise. But come on, man. Come on. I mean, we couldn't have taken 5 more minutes in our quarterback search. Shut up, Peggy. I haven't even looked at my comments. And I know she's here. Damn it. Of all people. I mean, of all people. We're getting sloppy thirds. It's not even sloppy seconds. It's sloppy 3 3/4. Look, I'm going to show you the brighter side of that iceberg, okay? Even if we are the Titanic today, I'm going to show you the brighter side of that. I swear to goodness gracious. Tradish! R8RBEAR Live! First comment, woo! MVP tonight was dominated by John the Lion! Always catching L's, but never taking losses. It's all about the legacy, guys. The legacy. Second place, my silver medal. I don't even know who my second place person is because John came in first. Like 27 comments. Oh, there it is. That 5-emoji making son of a gun. Mark Vargas. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Always there for R8RBEAR, our multi-time heavyweight champion, Mr. Mark Vargas. Usurped by the quick John the Lion. Leon. Okay. Third place, my good friend in the house and his lovely wife. Hi, Casey. Bob Stannard. Bob, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Always there for R8RBEAR. He came and visited me at my house once. Great dude. And by the way, if you're looking for a sign, he does some really incredible signs and woodwork that's really nice. So if you need a sign for your show or your place or your house or your garage or wherever the place may be, hit him up. My guy, Bob Stannard. Honorable mention to DPC, David Pell-Cliver and Lucky Pace. What's up, guys? Okay. Facebook. That, I'm kind of mad at them right now. We'll go into that later. It's his signature, okay? I have to do it every time. So that moment before I say it, he knows that it's confirmed. Carlos Boykins. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Carlos, I don't know if you have like 1 or 8 kids, but I want them all, with you on the sofa, waiting to see you win and hear the bear let it rip. You know what I mean? You got to have someone record that with your cell phone and then post it on Facebook so I can see it. Okay, yeah, I put a lot of thought into that. I won't lie. Second place, my silver medal, the new head of my security, Joe Holman. Handsome Joe Holman. I like that. Handsome Joe Holman. Yeah, of course. Third place, my bronze medal goes to one of the benefactors of this show, Stephen and Mrs. Shaw. And the little Shaws. I'm going to just start throwing the kids in too. They shouldn't be left out. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Appreciate you all tuning in. Raider Bear Live. Okay, now first, for all of the Raider fans that are out on the ledge, okay, and you're looking down from that 5-story building and you're getting ready to jump and we're all going, no, wait, it could be worse. You could be a Niner fan. Put foots in him. That bum Shanahan. I wonder how Shanahan will break their hearts this year. How do you think? I don't know, but I can't wait to see it. I feel like a diabolical evil villain in a film when I'm watching Niners collapse while Shanahan goes, Dagnubbit, get the play in the one I called, Dagnubbit. I don't care if they got it last time for a 5-yard loss against us. Run it again. Thank you. And scene. Thank you. I know the acting has gotten much better. I know. I've been practicing. Oh, and also, if you would, consider a subscription to Raider Bear Family Page. It's just $5 a month. You can cancel at any time. But that's on Facebook. If you need be and you want to keep it more discreet, check me out on Patreon. That's right, Patreon. Raider Bear Family, Raider Bear, Patreon. Check me out. No excuses. YouTubers, no excuses. You. I'm not going to lie. I've gotten a few more YouTube subscriptions, and I appreciate it, but just a few more. We got to work on that. Okay. Steven! And the whole family. Shaw! Appreciate the love on the stars. Troy Gill, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. All right, so we've got a multitude of topics, so let's just jump right into it because if I don't, I won't want to. All right, so Kenny Pickett. Let's just get the pain out first, okay? Let's get all the pain out, okay? So I have some good news, but let's get all the bad stuff out first. So apparently Kenny Pickett was the only available quarterback out there. And what you know what's worse? You know what's even worse? The Browns are having basically a fire sale. You know what I mean? I have never, and I mean never, okay, swear on my great aunt Irene that I have never, and I mean never seen a team so desperate and pathetic that while their owner comes right out on camera and goes, yeah, we suck right now. We're just, we're not a good franchise. I'm like, you got you're at an AA meeting, but more importantly, we all knew that already. You're probably the only person who's not supposed to say that, even if it's true, which it is. I've never seen a greater implosion of an owner taking a dump on his own product. It's like someone going, Coca-Cola, you shouldn't try this. It tastes like this. Who owns Coca-Cola? Oh, I do. I do. It sucks though. Okay. So anyway, I'm sorry. There's a whole fire sale going on at the Browns. Virtually every quarterback they have is available. Everyone on the roster, but even at quarterback, think about that. I've never heard about that on a team. Even the worst of the worst teams, I've never heard about a team that had not even one player that the franchise was like, no, you can't touch that guy. That's our franchise guy. They don't have that. They don't have one guy that they can tap and go, I can't wait to see who they franchise tag. They'll probably do a ceremonial franchise tag of the water boy. Crazy day today, the Raiders news-wise, but I like all these moves today. Rodney, you know, I'm not completely against the Kenny Pickett thing. I'm not completely against it. Now, the reason why you guys know I'm telling you the truth is because it came out of my face. Because remember, it was just a few shows ago that I said, even though Kenny Pickett has been somewhat of a laughingstock at this point, I didn't blame Peggy and the Steelers for picking him because coming out of school, I thought he looked fantastic. I mean, I thought he was the real deal. But we saw him succeeding in a system. That's it. And I lost sight of the fact that every quarterback that comes into the NFL now, I'm convinced of this, is not technically trained as an NFL quarterback. They're trained as a college quarterback. Now, what's the difference? I know most of you know it, but I'm going to key in on just one thing. There's still kids that take orders in college. Once you get to the NFL, you immediately are made to feel like, hey, I'm a man. I've got a wife and kids. I've got a contract. I'm a millionaire. I got a car and a mansion. If I tell you I want to run Z72 right, then we're running Z72 right. So there's just a lot of quarterbacks that come from college and they don't get it. They don't know how to read defenses. They don't know how to check the line. It's bad. And so now add to that, the learning curve is too high. So you just can't do it. Well, Kenny Pickett has done what most people who would be in this situation are unable to do, and that is stick around in the league with his potential still showing, because we really haven't seen like a total crap out on Kenny Pickett. He's had good games and he's had average games. He's had games where he wasn't very good, but not like double interception, double fumble, Aiden O'Connell, which that did happen to him last year. He had a game where he had 2 fumbles and 2 interceptions in the same game. It was under Josh McDaniels, but I mean, so it wasn't last year, but I mean, so it was under Josh McDaniels, but But I think Kenny Pickett, because he was with the Steelers, couldn't win the job, couldn't beat the learning curve, goes to the Cleveland Browns, can't win the job, can't overcome, but looks better. He looks better with Cleveland. He seems like he's learning. Okay, so now if we get him and Chip Kelly can say, hey, kid, just let me program you like we did in college. I'm going to give you 7 plays. You go up to the line with them. If you see something that works, good. If it doesn't, switch to whatever's on the menu I give you. Don't try to search your mind for the whole playbook. That's where mistakes happen. Just stay in this a la carte menu and we'll be fine. And I would not put it past Chip Kelly to do that. And I mean that seriously, because we kind of lucked into the fact that Chip Kelly does have a complex offensive scheme. Now, that because it's complex, the first thing you hear is, oh, well, that means it's hard to learn. No, it's broken into segments. So if he says we're running this menu, and this menu we're just going to call the letter A, okay? If we're running this menu, it's going to have X amount of plays on it that he's going to be able to go through. He'll be able to have it on one of those wrist things. And then as he turns the pages, it'll go to offense B, offense C, and so on. And then he'll recognize the cadence, see what the play means, and then call the play. So we can do that because I'll be honest with you, I see no situation where Geno Smith is healthy for every single game. I never said he wouldn't play well. I think Geno Smith is going to play well for us. But he's at the age now where you've got to expect your quarterback to miss a game or two, even if that's for rest. You know what I mean? With a 17-game season now, guys are bigger than they've ever been, And I like the rule changes as far as protecting the quarterback. I know a lot of people objected to that, but I just want to be clear. The rule changes to the quarterback, to me, mattered now. In other words, the days of when fans, we would say, oh, why don't you just put a dress on the quarterback? You can't even touch him. Well, I mean, I was one of those guys that felt that way too. But then I started to notice that the era kept changing and growing and changing and growing. And then it got to a point where if you knock the other team's quarterback out, they're done. If you knock the other team's quarterback out and it lasts a few games, their season's done. You know what I mean? Now, as an opponent, the Raiders, we would say, yeah, I like that. If we hit Mahomes, maybe he's out for a few days, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but what if the Chiefs hit our quarterback? You see what I mean? It goes both ways. And so I would just rather the new rules protect the quarterbacks because the game also sucks to watch. when the other team loses their quarterback. You know what I'm talking about. We don't really want to see Kenny Pickett out there or Aiden O'Connell or anyone else. Geno Smith is clear and away the number one, and he's good. And if you really take time and go back and look at how he's played the last 3 seasons, he's had winning seasons out of the last 3 seasons he's had, and he's been good. Go check the stats. 74 to 76% completion percentage. That is fantastic. Anytime you get into the 60s or higher, it's good. He's in the 70s, threatening the 80s. You know what I mean? That's pretty good. You know, I'll take that. I'd much rather defensive ends not be able to drive him in the ground and Max not be able to do it too, than we lose the only chance we have. You know what I mean? We can overcome if you lose Ashton Jeanty. It would suck, but we can overcome that. You know what I mean? But you can't overcome losing Max, and you can't overcome losing Geno Smith. You can't. Thank God the offensive line has been sneaky, really quietly on the down low, cheating on its wife. So sneaky, is playing really, really well. Yes, Jim, plenty to talk about because we are making moves. All right, so I get to go back to one of my most favorite cherished nicknames when I used to call Amari Pooper Scooper Cooper. Trademark. Don't touch that. I'll sue. Amari Pooper Scooper Cooper. I can't. I can't. I'll get excited about it tomorrow. Maybe. I'm trying. All right. Okay. Now, honestly, he did not have a great year his last season with the Buffalo Bills. 1 year prior to that, I believe it was, maybe it was the year prior to that, he did have a decent year there. Let's remember, though, he was working with Josh Allen, so he should have been, having pretty good success with him. But I get the impression, how sometimes a football team goes through something and they don't want you to know. So not only do they not tell you, they try not to even let it get out. I think, honestly, there was a relationship gap there. I don't see how Josh Allen could miss Amari Cooper that often, especially when they had their main guy in Ruggs or whatever his name is, Diggs. Yeah, now I've got Henry Ruggs on my mind because I'm like, well, hey, if we're going to bring back Amari Cooper, why not Henry Ruggs? Let's just bring in Henry too. Call Henry and just tell him, come on, man, we need you. Because we kind of do at this point. Jacoby Myers, say it ain't so. I really thought that he would sit on this deal. I really did. I don't know if you guys remember. It was a few days ago again on one of my shows. I said that he would understand that we had to re-up with Max and we had to hit, Geno with the G, and, we had to take care of Colton Miller. All that has to happen. You just got here. You just got a new deal. Now you already looking at us funny, Come on, Jacoby. And by the way, where's Jacoby played better football than with us? Even his time with the Patriots was just sort of, with us, he was becoming something of a star. Now I get it. He wants to get paid, and I never fault a player for that. I'm even though I look like I'm going, oh, what are you doing? I don't mean to seem like that because this is where he works. This is his job. You know what I mean? If he's married and he has kids, he has to take care of them, not us. And so he doesn't give a damn what I think about it, and I don't blame him. But it just sucks that the timing of this, you know what I mean? And then not only that, he's requesting a trade. Now we have control of his contract, so he's going to play for the Raiders this year. How long? I don't know. Because they're going to probably want to look to move him. And if nothing else, no offense to Jacoby Meyer, but we didn't bring Jacoby Meyer in as this like stud, you know what I mean? He's just good, you know what I mean? And then he won the number one with us. But let's be honest, we've been kind of, lagging on getting good wide receiver talent in here for a minute. And as soon as we get Dante Thornton in, he's like, I want out. I'm requesting a trade. Bye. Thornton's going to take over what you were doing. Okay. You can see the writing on the wall, I'm sure. And you're never going to get a deal with us. That's just business. They're going to probably have to see that it's obvious that they're going to have to re-up Thornton at some point. So sorry. It's just business, and they should honor him. They should trade him. If he wants that, I'd honor it. Ellis Irving, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Welcome to the show. Rodney Fuller calling it a crazy day. It is crazy. Well, but I mean, obviously, we're leading right up to the season here. You know what I mean? And so you had to make these moves quickly. So I kind of understand the Kenny Pickett thing. No, I don't. I'm lying. If you really think about it, like let's say one of the teams that has a decent backup, like say the Broncos or the Jets, they have a decent backup. The kid with the Commanders, real nice backup. He's just lost the job because of Jaden Daniels, but he was pretty nice for them the year prior when Jaden Daniels hadn't gotten there yet. And so I could see making a move toward that. But you have to remember, those teams have to agree to do it. We don't have a lot of time. You know what I mean? That means they can't like just say, hey, we'll get back to you, which is what they'll all do. Unless one of them, like the Browns, just comes forward and just says that. We don't care. Just pick one. Put foots in the Browns. Oh. Mark Vargas, you're okay. Let's see what happens next. I agree. Mike Henderson, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. And honestly, I still don't think we're done making moves. I don't think we can be. I mean, if we want to, I don't think we can be. I think you really now have to look for another wide receiver just in case Jacoby. I mean, I'm not saying this. I'm just saying this. But if Jacoby Myers decides to be a jerk, he could Randy Moss us, man, and this whole season just goes right in the toilet. You know what I mean? And we're close as it is. You know what I mean? Having to rely on Kenny Pickett, you know what I mean? You're starting to hear some whispers that Ashton Genty might be a little bit brittle. I'm getting a little bit concerned about that. So, I pegged him as rookie of the year. You know what I mean? But now I have my concerns. Oh, good Lord. Tim, Tim, stop giving Peggy your phone. Peggy and I have been together since the second grade. Oh, wow. That's beautiful, you guys. They've been together since the second grade, and I thought I knew everything about her, but she made a confession today that shattered my lifelong belief. She might not like the Raiders, but pregnant, pause for effect, she doesn't hate them. Yes! You're never living that down, Peggy. I knew you loved us down deep. Doggone it. Let's see. She doesn't hate them except when her dad is around. Then she hates the Raiders. It's a daddy's little girl thing. I can live with that. Of course you can. She gave you a boy and a girl right from jump, you spoiled brat. Damn it, Tim. You know what I would have done to get a boy and a girl at the same time? 2 kids, done. I had to go 4. And I only got lucky on the last one. Boy, 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 girl. So like my daughter's got like this whole security team in front of her. She's never going to find a date. Eddie! Oh, wait, I forgot the pinky. My friend all the way from the land of whiskey and crumpets. Appreciate the love, brother. I know we're having fun and I'm midway through the show, but I just want to say something for a moment. For my friend Paul Craven. He had a loss of a loved one recently, and he's one of those Raider fans from overseas that he used to call me at 2 or 3 in the morning and wake me up out of nowhere with his kids on the phone, laughing and giggling and asking to talk to me. And we would do video calls. I'm rubbing sleep out of my eyes, telling his kids I love them. And they lost the loved one. And I don't really want to say too much. I feel like it's not my business. I haven't asked permission, but I love him. And I just wanted to say, Paul, I love you, brother. And this one hurts. All right. Jesse. This is Peggy. I'm not going to bust on you. I kind of like Kenny Pickett, our offensive coordinator. Matt Canada was an idiot. Yeah, honestly, Kenny Pickett had, with the long hair, he had kind of a gunslinger's mentality. And then as soon as that started getting said in the press, he seemed to kind of embrace it. And I honestly, I liked it. I liked the fact that he had some, I'm using an old word here, but it's just the perfect word. But he had moxie. You know what I mean? He had guts. He played with his chest out and his chin up. And when he won, he pumped his fist and he didn't care how it made the opponent feel. This is a man's game. And so when he came into the pros and he went to the Steelers, I was like, womp, womp, womp. My energy level dropped. But then when he wasn't good for you guys, I was like, ha, 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 ha. But then, it was like a double bad, good feeling. It was weird. But yeah. And then when he went to the Browns, it looked so pathetic. He looked so lost. He looked so lost. I mean, he looked like he was like third or fourth on their depth chart out of 5 quarterbacks that they had. He's like sort of middle ground in it. And it didn't look good. I'm almost glad he's out of there, even if it is with us. I'm glad he's out of there. Honestly, Jesse, not only is Trapdoor back, but I don't understand why we didn't just bring Derek Carr back. I'm deathly serious. Why didn't you just bring Derek Carr back? It's a 1-year deal. Do you really think he's out of shape? Do you really think the debutante that Derek Carr is, and don't get mad at me, Derek Carr fan, okay? Putting foots in you, because you know good and god darn well that Derek Carr is a debutante, okay? He's a teetotaler, a sissy boy, a Nancy Pants. After the accident, when they broke his bones. Before they broke his bones, he was none of those things. But I digress. He wouldn't feel like those things now. He's had a year or two away, or more. He's, gotten in shape. He's with his wife. He's content, but he's not far enough away that if the Raiders shot him an email that he wouldn't have listened. And he would have come in camp and he would have looked at what they were doing and he would have thought, hey, I can do something with a quick throw offense and a halfway decent offensive line. 1-year deal. All right, let's talk. And then you work something out, you bring him in. You know what I mean? And even after I did that whole kumbaya with Peggy about Kenny Pickett, okay? I would have rather seen Derek come back for 1 year. You know how the crowd would have went crazy for that? We would have had Raider fans that were trying to burn down the building and other Raider fans that would have been like, God, thank you for hearing my prayers and sending us Derek Carr back, that he might save our season and he would be able to get an extra bowl of gruel. Scrooged. Look it up. It's an American classic. Come on. Yeah, Amari Gaynor being gone, Bob, was to me a sign that Cody Lindbergh is playing as well as I thought. Because remember, I was saying to you guys, watch for the Cody Lindbergh story, because if he makes it, we're going to see somebody leave that's going to surprise us. Now, we weren't really surprised that Kenny Smith was gone, or Jaden Smith, was gone. But Jaden Smith is 10 times the athlete that Cody Lindbergh is. But Lindbergh is way more form, younger. He's not bringing any baggage, no old term, injuries or any of that kind of stuff. Doesn't expect a certain amount of pay. He's got his deal. And so Lindbergh held on. I am cautiously excited about what it could mean, because I know Tommy Eichenberg, although he made some mistakes in the preseason, I feel like he's going to progressively get better and he's going to be good for us because he has all the tools. He looks to me literally like a Bill Romanowski prototype. He just has to get his mind and his body to catch up just a little bit more and we'll have something. And he could do that within this year. Just work out, stay stiff, get hard, go out there, slam guys. And I think we'll be okay, but I'm not, but would I bet money on it now? Jim Garrison, Kenny Pickett is on his 10th team and only been in the league 2 years. He really getting passed around, trying to be in the Guinness Book of Records to play on all 32 teams. All I'm going to say is, because it sounds ridiculous if I try to defend him, because you can't really do that, but All I'm going to say is when he was in college and you saw his mechanics and his courage in moments where you needed to be courageous, where you needed to be unafraid and not hesitate because you have a whisker of a moment to throw a ball between two guys and get it there, touchdown. He was that guy. He really was. He was not your typical cookie cutter quarterback that was coming out of the college ranks. He looked like he had the tools already there. Now let's get him under a coach, a good playbook, and a good offensive line, and you could go who knows where with this kid. And I kind of agreed with that. You know what I mean? I keep qualifying it. I kind of, sort of, kind of. No, I did. I liked him. Handsome Joe Holman said, I can't get behind the Cooper Pooper Scooper signing because we know what he's like. He's got great hands until the DBs start playing him rough, and then he turns into a pussy cat. Stop using my lines, Joe. But I appreciate the laugh. No, but seriously though, I'm going to try to be serious because that was funny. But I don't even want to say it, but I'm going to say it. Amari Cooper, though, remember, there were some like crazy video game numbers there just back to Dallas where he was putting up 200 yards and getting 3 touchdowns. And I mean, just crazy games. Now, then he would miss 3 games, come back and play average in 2 games, and then have another game where he had 187 yards and a touchdown and, didn't drop anything and fumbled nothing. And all I'm saying is that now that we've signed him, at least we can know, and I mean this seriously, at least we know there will be at least one game where he looks at Geno Smith and goes, hey, G, look, listen, when I run the 7, I'm going to do it like this, give him this little piddle paddle. I'm going to look like I'm going left. Just as soon as you see me do that little piddle battle and turn left, throw it on the right-hand side, bro. I'm going to go get it. And they're going to get that chemistry because Geno's like that. There's a lot of quarterbacks you couldn't go out there and you couldn't talk to like that. And I'm not talking about black thing or slang or anything like that. I'm just saying basically so many quarterbacks in the league now, they're robotic, they're structured, they're told run this and that's what you do, or you might lose your job or your place on the team with the coach. They're all afraid of that. Geno's not afraid of that. He's enough of a veteran and he knows Pete, you know what I mean? He knows what he can get away with and what he can. Pete is one of those kind of coaches. He will give you some lasso, don't hang yourself, but he'll give you some rope, and Geno's going to take that rope and look at Amari Cooper and go, Mr. Route Runner, Mr. one of the best get-offs in football history. Let's not forget that either. Okay, guys. Now, for those of you who don't know what a get-off is, the get-off just basically means right when the quarterback snaps the ball, he's one of the best at giving that wiggle and hand fighting with the guy if he has to and getting off the line and getting out ahead and running his route. He's one of the best at that. I mean, we've seen him make guys fall down with it. Literally just go, whoa, like it's a basketball crossover. And so if he still has any semblance of that, and I got to be honest with you, I'm pretty sure he does. Because that's one of the last things to go. The speed will go, but not his hands and not his footwork. And so I could see him coming back for us and having a hell of a season. And if he does that with Jacoby in the situation he's in, we might benefit from it. Now, yes, Jacoby asked for a trade, but he has no control of his contract. So he can't make us trade him. So we can either hold on to him or even wait till mid-year and trade him just before the deadline if we get a good offer for him. But the point being that with now Amari Cooper, who I know we don't like what he was, and I know we don't like, him. But he was decent for Dallas and Buffalo, and he had some temper tantrums with Buffalo. And so he had a few games in 2024 was not good for him. And, that's why he ends up in free agency. But I think he can bring a little bit of that old magic every once in a while that Cooper was known for. There's just certain times, he's going to get a mismatch with a DB that's third string or something like that. And our opponent's not going to respect him. He's going to get burned. Well, their DB is going to get burned. Okay, so I brought up Kenny Pickett. We talked about Amari Cooper. We talked about Jacoby Meyer. And then we talk about the cut line in a minute. Well, no, Bob, anyone we mentioned, any quarterback we mentioned, Teddy Bridgewater or any other one, the other team's got to be willing to accommodate us. And why would Pittsburgh have done that when they're not sure about their one? Okay, let's be honest. They're sorry, Peggy, but Pittsburgh's situation is as bad as the Browns. It's as bad as the Browns. The only difference is that Pittsburgh has respect. There are fans out there that have a great deal of respect for the Pittsburgh franchise, its logo, and its colors, and its history. No one has that for the Browns. Their famous quarterback was Bernie, a guy named Bernie. No, not the guy running for president, but he doesn't get enough soup. But Bernie Kosar. Come on, that was a pretty good Bernie Sanders. I've been practicing. But the other teams aren't going to want to help us. And okay, there was a rumor that we were looking at Mason Rudolph with the Steelers. Why would they want to do that when they don't even know if Aaron Rodgers could get through one game, let alone a season? You know what I mean? So they weren't going to help us, even if they wanted to. Then that would have made their situation incredibly tenuous. No, not that it isn't, but they don't want their fans to see that because they lie to their fans because they're a dirty franchise. Pug foots in you pegs. Let's see. Getting Cooper is a downgrade over Jacoby. Well, Raider Miguel, this close to the season starting, just rosters are set. You know, guys have just made the team. The 53 cut just happened. I mean, I would have brought back that kid that we had on the cut list, and that could still happen. Where is he? Keytron Jackson, you know, Bo Jackson's kid. I would have brought back Keytron. You know what I mean? If nothing else, just give him an opportunity. You know, and then the other one was Marquez Callaway. I'm forgetting Colin Johnson. So, you know, and I would argue that those guys, you say, well, those are practice team guys and guys that were on the cut list. You know, that's not better than Amari or better than Jacoby Myers. Okay, you're right. But at the same time, we don't know what they could become. We just know what Jacoby is, and he wants out. We know what Amari Cooper is. He was available, but we know what he is. But these kids we've cut, we don't really know what they are. We've seen what they are in practice. We've seen what they are in video. But what were they going to be as Raiders? Because, I mean, obviously all of us as Raider fans have seen guys come to the team that we had low expectations for, and they ended up being really good. I mean, Brock Bowers was supposed to be the truth, but we didn't really know that, you know what I mean, until he landed in a black jersey and suddenly turned into the Greek god Zeus at tight end. You know what I mean? And now we're all like, I love Brock Bowers. He's so manly. It's such a man's man. But he's all business. And so that's why I like the guy so much. You know what I mean? But you didn't know he was going to be that. I would have liked to have seen a guy who we only signed this guy like 3 weeks ago, Marquez Callaway. I really would have liked to have seen what he could have done before Amari Cooper. I guess the idea is that Amari Cooper is a more proven commodity because even though we do have problems with him, I guarantee you that he's going to be looked at as the veteran that's going to show up, not the kid that we may have to teach things to. And that's pretty much probably how they see it. I have a daughter and a son, my adult. Nice. See, Mark Vargas, you're blessed too. I had to go 4 rounds before I got a daughter. My wife was like, we're not stopping until I get a daughter. I'm like, oh my God. Myers is under contract this year. Let him honor that. Ball out and go get your big payday. That's the only thing, Jim, that I apologize. I'm interrupting your comment. But that was what I was trying to get at, and I got off point. He's going to be in a situation where he can't Randy Moss us because that kills his value. Because other teams are going to look at him and be like, okay, you know, we're all NFL teams. You know, we're all brothers in this. You know, I mean, there's going to be times where a team might be interested in him and, you know, they went to college with the Raiders general manager and they don't want to see him dicking around our general manager, excuse my French, like that. You know what I mean? And so he's going to have to go for it. He really is. He's going to have to act like it's a 1-year prove deal. Raider Miguel, I haven't heard a dollar figure thrown around for Jacoby yet. He just feels like Our other guys got re-upped. He didn't say he's not making enough money. He essentially said the rest of the roster's stars got re-upped. I'm the number one wide receiver here. What's going on? You know, and you can look at his Jacoby Myers numbers and you can say, well, his touchdowns this, his yardage that. You know, you can make your pluses and minuses about things in his previous season, but what you can't talk about is his hands. Every single pass that was thrown at him was caught. He dropped nothing. Nothing. Not one. Zero. For a number one wideout to finish a season without a single drop. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not saying that means he deserves more money, but I could understand why he would think that. Vicky! Yeah! And that little troublemaker she's raising. I hope he was sitting there too, Vicky did, right when I said it. That little backpack wearing thief of love. Let's see. I just saw that we are talking with the Patriots about trading Myers for Duggar. I only heard about that just before I went on the air. There's one other team too that I understand is in the talks. I don't like this for Myers though, because the fact that this would happen this quickly only says two things, but only one of them's true. It says, hey, we're about to start season. We can't have this disgruntled wide receiver, so we're going to make a deal for him because he wants out. He actually asked for a trade. So we're going to go ahead and help him. Now, it could be that, or it could be that they're ferociously pissed off that their number one wide receiver would pull this just before the season starts. I mean, where was this, week one of the preseason? Where was this when they came back from camp? Where was this when those guys were getting their re-up deals like Max and Colton? Why wasn't your voice heard then? And we know he didn't say anything because had he, it would have hit the press and we would have all known about it. I would have heard something about it. So he keeps his mouth shut right until we're leading up to the season like he's trying to strangle him. Pretty good negotiations in reality. If I was his agent, I'd be like, attaboy. Hold their feet to the fire. No. Chris Strong said, having Carr back would make me happy, even though you hate him. And he put parentheses on him. I don't hate him. It's not that much. It's not that. I gave him a great deal of credit for the fact that he had single-handedly, in my opinion, changed our image and made us look like a professional football team again. There was a long time where the fans kept spreading the rumor that we were the trash fans that always hurt the other team's fans, stabbing them and shooting them in the parking lots, when obviously nothing could be further from the truth. Did we have incidents of the past? Of course, because so has every other franchise every single year. And it happened this year with just about every, team in the league. It happens, but not with us as much. We're at the bottom of the league in that kind of stuff now. Look at the stats. You'll find it. It's on NFL.com. They talk about it. But I don't hate him, Chris Strong. I really don't. I'm just, the only thing I ever held against Derek is that he had everything. He had every opportunity. He had literally a 9.5-year run of no one breathing down his back for his job. Just here, Derek, go get it. Next year. Here, Derek, go get him. Next year. Hey, Derek, we know you broke your legs and stuff, but you're still our guy. Go get him, over and over and over again. And he couldn't get it done. Bobby Ware, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Carr to Cooper touchdown. Well, Jim, I honestly, I could see it. I think Carr would cut loose a little bit more. He wouldn't be so concerned about his stats because it wouldn't be leading to contract negotiations in the following year, which he did every year. He kept leaning on his stats. And why would you? He wasn't having winning seasons. So he would always say, hey, guys, we didn't have a winning season, but I threw for 4,000 yards. And then next year would come and he'd say, hey, guys, we lost, but I threw for 4,000 yards. You know, and he did it year after year after year after year, and it was amazing. But, you know, you can put up video game numbers if you're more concerned about the video game numbers than the win. Oh, that was a big shot to the balls of Derek Carr. Okay, maybe I do hate him. Maybe I'm having a hard time admitting it. I don't know. Isn't Derek Carr's shoulder still hurt? Forever, Jesse. Yes, it will be hurt forever. We can't have one Fend year without this BS. Yeah. You know, TB12 doesn't want that MF, right? ACDC again, Bear, right? Hey, Bear, be on the lookout soon. I'll let you know exactly when. Oh! Oh, un strike on the Bear, un strike on the Bear. I love it. My fashion designer, Jesse Parker. Michael H. Chandler, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Amari Pooper Scooper Blooper Cooper. I like that one. We need new magic. I feel like Ashton can be that guy. I don't want to lose my focus on the fact that I feel like he can be that guy. The line still has to be good because I don't care what running back you are, short of Walter Payton or Marshawn Lynch, Earl Jones, Marcus Allen, Bo Jackson. Now I'll stop. But aside from that list, you got to have blockers. If you don't mind, tell me again what I missed. Why does Myers want to be traded? Myers wants a new deal. He wants more money, and he's in the last year of his deal. See, so to me, he has a beef. He really does. He has a beef because you usually would wait to negotiate what he would get last year, because you don't want to get to where he's in the last season with your team unless you're positive you don't have him in your future plans. Now, I don't think they're positive that he's not in their future plans. I just think they poorly managed this situation because it's an unspoken rule. You don't let one of your lead players get into the final season of his contract without his new money, because every single game he plays could be his last. If he gets hurt, now he doesn't have any contract with the Raiders. He's suddenly off the team rehabbing, and no one in the league wants him because he snapped his fibia and his tibia. You know, whereas if they had given him the deal last year, he gets the injury. We just wait for him to get healthy and come back. You know what I mean? And so it kind of screws him to not give him the deal before the season starts. Steven Shaw and all of the little Shaws and Mr. Shaw. Anna Diaz Rincon, my first supporter ever. Hi, love, who's gotten way too busy for the Bear lately because she's got her own show. I really love how you do that, Anna. Don't ever think I'm serious. I think that's so cool how you do that. And I saw that you were sending me invites to come on the show. Don't think I was ignoring you. I just don't get them. You know what I mean? I really don't. I just get too many messages, and I'll check it, and there'll be 15, and I'll go through them, and then I'll go to lunch or do something else, and I miss them. And so I apologize. I should have been on your show long ago. Okay. If you look at your Hendricks was drafted and who we drafted is diabolical and mind-blowing. Loco Sick, what's up? Raiders should put Bo Jackson's son on the practice squad. I would agree with that. My daughter will be 35 in September. Oh, wow. Mine's just coming up on 23. So she's still kind of a baby. 19 million a year for 3 years. If that's what he's actually asking for, that doesn't seem that bad. I don't understand why they wouldn't go for that. He's your one. Oh, no, Loco Sick, you're right. Those players aren't in the league anymore. I was just using their names as a way of saying that those were the few legends at running back that really, whether you made a hole for them or not, they'd make it themselves or find one. You know what I mean? And I'm saying I don't know if Ashton Genty's that good. I think he's good, real good, but I don't know if he's that good. The last thing that this team needs is another distraction. I think it might be too late, Anna. I really do. I think it might be too late. Oh, I love that profile picture. That's from your recent event you and your husband went to, right? That looks nice. Vicky again, and you make sure he heard every word, okay? Hi, Marlo. Lynn, come say hi to your boyfriend. So the question is, why don't they pay Jacoby? Joe, I don't know if they see him as a one. I just don't know if they see him as a star. He had a good season, but was it superstar numbers? You know, I think it's kind of what we're seeing with Malcolm Kuntz. Malcolm Kuntz had one season of production, and then it's kind of like, pay me. You know, I mean, come on, man. That tempestuous little brat Marlo's watching.
Why is he gonna be tempestuous? Good Lord, where did that come from?
That mercurial little munchkin.
Hi, Marlo.
That is Marlo is watching. The handsome little 9-year-old that hit on my wife in my house right in front of me. Stop that. Hit you with the Febreze. Hi, Marlo. She still loves you, Marlo. It's true. Vicky! Yeah! Wait. Steven Shaw and the Shaw family.
Was that from Vicky or was that from Marlo?
Get out. No, Bob, that's true. I'm okay. You don't need to let me know that Derek Carr's contract is still owned by the Saints. You nincompoop. Of course I know he's not coming back. Not really. It was just something to discuss. Carr retired because he needed surgery that would have made him miss his whole season, and he didn't get the surgery, so why even talk about bringing him in? Man, geez. Okay. What do you want me to do? Apologize? You know, I'm taking back your new nickname, Joe. I completely agree that he had opportunities there. That being said, I feel like his O-line, his McDoofus, really didn't help him. Well, Chris, I mean, I will make it clear, I do not blame Derek Carr for the losing. I don't blame Derek Carr for the losing. I don't know if I would say that he would have won had he had all the pieces, because I do feel like once or twice in those runs of his that we did have a pretty decent team together, and he couldn't get us through. But I don't care. I mean, he's still a legend. He's still a Raider. He's still, you know, put up a hell of amount of numbers for us and passed some of the greatest of all time. I don't know what that necessarily means. You know what I mean? Does that mean he's better than Kenny Stabler because he threw for more yards than him? Yeah, come on. No way. Yeah, Carr's out playing golf with that bad shoulder. Exactly. I mean, come on. And he couldn't have given us a year. He's not that healed yet. Come on. Carr was better off with AP, but still big gaps in the O-line. No, and Chris, we never really had a defense behind him for more than a year or two here and there. You know what I mean? So Charlie Garner. Okay, Marcus. I mean, there's more guys. I just didn't want to say them all. I called him Marcus. Mark, excuse me. No, Anna, stop it and keep doing it. I was only kidding, honey. I would never be serious about something like that. You know I got love for you. Bear's about to hang up on us. Watch. And delete. You're so stupid. Love you, Vicky. No, I was talking about the draft, the year Hendricks was drafted and who we drafted. Okay. Let's see. Henderson is finally having talks about contact with the Bengals. That owner sucks. Yeah, and the fact that they're even talking to Trey Hendrickson is exciting, but I think that there may be some evidence in that. What if the reason they've been dragging Jacoby is because they didn't want a deal they made with him to take them out of the Hendricks sweepstakes? One more time. Aha! Okay. My comment wasn't geared toward you. It was geared toward all those other people who were saying that would love to see Derek Carr come back. You just want your nickname back, don't you? Not better than Stabler. That's right. Hold me to every comment, you guys. Every single one. Deuces, Raider Miguel. Have a good night, brother. What did you say? Carr's a legend? Oh, my God. Hey, for a 4-year, I want to say 4, it might have been 5, but for a 4-year period, he threw for 4,000 yards in consecutive seasons. That's not normal. Even for a guy that's stat padding, that's not normal. Not 4,000 consistently for 4 seasons. That is really good. I mean, that's really good. That's not deniable. You know what I mean? But to me, Derek Carr is like the Dan Fouts of the Raiders. You know, and you remember Dan Fouts, that fat guy that used to throw the rock around for the Chargers when they were in San Diego. And he always looked good, and he would always run around like a lumberjack with his belly and his beard, and he'd throw the ball, and he would get it everywhere, and he'd win all these games. And then they'd get into the playoffs and run up right now. Raw. That's the sound effect for losing. You heard it too. Tyrone Wheatley. I want everyone to find a running back that doesn't need a blocker. Go. And no one is allowed to say Emmitt Smith, okay? Emmitt Smith is the illegitimate champion of running backs, okay? He's the Derek Carr of running backs. He did a lot of stuff that didn't mean, I'm just kidding. He was a part of 4 Super Bowls. It's just a joke. I hate Dallas. Bring back Derek Carr. Hey, you know, Mark, if I put in a phone call, it's done. You know, if I call Derek and I say, hey, we need you, brother. You know, he's out there next day, ready to go. You might disagree, but my favorite all-time Reader quarterback was George Blanda. He was one tough son of a shut your mouth. Smoking Joe Holman, I would have to say this to you. Smoking Joe Holman, I can like that even better. George Blanda was tougher than a $2 steak. I mean, that guy rode bikes with no saddle. I had no problem. He just, I know some people make that as like a gay reference. That's not what I was saying. I just mean he was so tough he didn't even need the seat. But yeah, that was a bad dude, man. That was a bad dude. I mean, just the stories you heard about him too. That was a bad dude. I'll have to break out my Raider book that my grandfather left for me before he passed away. God rest his soul. And it's this thick, and it's got just story after story about the Raiders and the locker room and things they did and stuff that happened there. And I could probably do 5 shows just on stories about players on the roster and things they did at certain stops. Like how the Chiefs, one time when the Chiefs were getting ready to play the AFC Championship against the Raiders, and they were the favorite team. And we went in, and one of the Chiefs players said that they were all wearing red business suits and red ties, you know, and they look like choir boys. And they said literally as they were getting off the bus, they turn and they see this other bus come in, and it looks like a bus out of the Road Warrior, and everyone's getting off with leather jackets and smoking cigarettes. One of the players, I'm not going to say who because that's not fair. The man's not alive anymore. But one of the players actually got off the bus with his girlfriend with him on the bus. I don't know who it was, Matuzak, but you know, I would only be guessing if I said their name. Barry Sanders. Yeah. Barry Sanders, no doubter. Darren McFadden was nice. He was nice. Earl Campbell was a monster. He just stomped on people. Yeah. Do the Raiders get Stephen Gilmore? Bob, Stephen Gilmore, I think now is finally kind of out of the equation. I'm not saying he can't play anymore. I just think that whoever pays him next is going to see the down of his career. You know what I mean? Because he needs to be acclimated to the system he's going to be playing defense in and get in a training camp and everything else. And so if he's coming in at this point, this late in the season, he would probably have some trouble even playing for us. So I think that would be substantially tough for him to really, bring something to us. And he's not going to want to just show up. He's going to want to play and play well. And, I don't know that he would be able to do that for us. All right, that's my show. Much love. Shout out to our armed forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, National Guard, Space Force. For all you do, the energy and love of this show is dedicated to your sacrifice. Active and veteran, much love. Please consider subscribing to the Radio Family page. Don't forget, I'm on Patreon now, on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Help me get my presence on YouTube. Gotta get that voice out there. Gotta make it fun again. To watch a podcast and hear about the Raiders. And it not be so static. And everyone worried about putting stats on the screen and having sponsors. Well, come to a real Raider fan who for 10 years, has been doing this for you. Peace.